was around back in April 2018, I first watched a lecture by a Nobel Prize winner, Elizabeth Blackburn, on her revolutionary research on telomere. Her utter dedication in solving a problem that lies in the few femtometers at the end of your own DNA was clearly visible in the way she explained about her research. Her deft explanation about how these little DNA noodles continuously shortens its length to tell ourselves that it's time to die. After that lecture, for almost 2 months, I couldn't stop thinking about how just few base pairs of DNA could be protected to achieve an immortal life. Well, at that time, I was working on COX-driven chronic inflammation, but every day after that lecture, I was being attracted and driven towards longevity sciences. As I started to get deeper into it, I discovered so much more that it became overwhelming and exciting at the same time. Cut to 2020, as I came to India, another interesting day changed my life. This time it was a friend who came up to me saying that he underwent a series of tests, even biopsies, because he couldn't find a solution to a simple throat itch, or inflammation is what we call, even after multiple visits to the conventional ENTs and GPs. Well, I was almost 18 months into following the research of longevity sciences by then. So I asked him if he would like to try a senescent cell killer or a senolytic, which could be a major reason for the contributing inflammation. He agreed, got a senolytic from USA, tried it, and surprisingly, that itch in his throat came down in just a couple of weeks. Well, this was, sorry, just a second. Yeah. It came down in a couple of weeks. He got interested and excited as well. He said, tell me more. And so I did. That tell me more is what we recognize in India today as Decode Age. That friend is sitting with us today in this meeting. He's called Parth Amin, and he's also my co-founder at Decode Age. And so was the birth of Decode Age. So, Dr. Munsa, am I audible? Because it shows that
yes, we can hear you.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, from that day onwards, Parth and I, we aggressively found out what's happening in the longevity field. We networked with different leaders, scientists, researchers, universities all around the world, and finally give India and Indians their first taste of longevity research and longevity sciences, in fact. At Decode Age, our single most vision is to help Indians live a healthier and hence a longer life that is full of vigor and vitality. Our work is concentrated towards preventive and predictive measures for early detection of the pace of aging, and track the decline of health that accompanies older age. Right. Before we go on forward, we would like to show a nice little video for which we have prepared for IAFM. If I'm allowed to share my screen. Is my screen visible?
Yeah, we can see your screen.
Yeah. Is my screen visible, Dr. Musa?
Your screen is visible, but in a short way. Not completely we can see. Can you present? Hello.
He's not there, sir. Yes.
Yeah.
Can you see the screen, everyone?
Yeah, now we can see you.
Okay.
What if I tell you that you could live 100 years or even more? Intriguing, right? Now these apples are of the same age, but you see the difference? The same thing happens with humans. Every time we make a bad lifestyle choice, we start aging. However, aging is about physics and not biology. For instance, think of cars. Parts wear down from rubbing and grinding. The metal rusts, the filters get plugged, and the rubber, it cracks. Similarly, our bodies are worn down by trillions of difficult processes, like radiation from the sun, metabolism, and even oxygen for that matter. Our bodies have many mechanisms to repair this damage. But over time, they become less and less, and less effective. Our bones and muscles, our skin wrinkles, The immune system gets weaker, our senses diminish, and we start losing our memory, There's no such thing as dying of old age. We all die because one of our important parts breaks down, just like that car. But you know what? Aging is not just all of that. The problem is really deep-rooted. It starts with a very small thing in your cell, DNA. बड़े सियाने जिन्हें हम researchers कहते हैं, they've identified aging through certain hallmarks, like the genomic instability, telomere shortening, senescent cells, mitochondrial dysfunction, deregulated nutrients, exhaustion of stem cells, epigenetic changes. वो नहीं समझ आया ना? List काफी लंबी है. Let me make it simple for you. Profession, passion, parties. हमें सब चाहिए. It has become a routine which causes lifestyle disease. And lifestyle disease is real, just like climate change or mental health. In a nutshell, aging is just a disease, and the most effective way to treat it is to prevent it. And that is where Life Elements comes to the rescue. Life Elements is the first company in India to bring you the benefits of longevity research with the help of extremely deep-rooted knowledge and the understanding of how the most basic DNA in your body functions. We've come up with 100% natural supplements that slow down the aging process and reverse the damage caused. Longevity, yani ki lambi umar, yani ki long life, is definitely possible now. And for that, we have a range of products that not only improve your metabolic health, endurance, aerobic capacity, but also controls obesity and cholesterol, maintains kidney and liver functions, and helps in chronic issues. Long story short, आप सभी ने equity, gold, property, crypto, इन सब में invest किया होगा, right? Well, now it's time to invest in health, longevity, and life elements. Life elements, your health assurance. Be a centenarian.
Well, thank you so much for allowing me to.
What if I tell you that you could live a
play that video? Yes. So like we mentioned in there, our mission is to address one of the largest gaps in the Indian healthcare that has been steadily creeping into our demography, and that is that of human health span. I think a graph that I'm going to show you next is really going to clear things up for us, is that of the Indian health span and the difference between the lifespan. So if we see, since 1940s, we have come from an average lifespan of around 40 to almost 69, which is a 29-year-old big gap. Today, our average lifespan is 69. But the trend in health is completely opposite, because our health is continuously declining since we age. And if we just look at the current trend, which is the blue line, we see that an average age to get a chronic disease is around 42. A person will usually get hypertension, or at least type 2 diabetes, maybe some problem with obesity, or some problem with the functioning of our cardiovascular system. That average age needs to change. It's happening because the health has almost declined to 50% because of your regular process of aging. And this, we believe, has to change at some point. And which is what we are trying to do. We want to help people by increasing their health span, by just making sure that they are healthier for a longer period of time. And how can we do that? It's because the aging process, which is usually associated with biological decline and damage, all the oxidation processes, all the vital biochemical pathways not functioning, short circuiting, all that happening is what is aging defined as. And now we have been almost a century that we have been developing theories of aging, but eventually we have come down to this final 9 hallmarks that has been accepted in the past 1.5 decade. And these are called the 9 hallmarks of aging, which we just saw in the video. We have talked about 9 hallmarks of aging through Decode Age in multiple sessions before this, in our own sessions. But to sum it up somehow, it's like these are the cellular and molecular reasons why your body starts aging at the first point. For example, as simple as something called nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide, which is the NAD+, a vital part in your mitochondria completing the OXPHOS system, or what we call the respiratory chain in the mitochondria, or be it helping the PARP enzymes in the nucleus to help repair the DNA that has been broken down by certain factors like radiation or chemical or the toxins that we are exposed to every day. Such that molecule NAD plus is known to have produced in our body for the first 20-25 years. But as we age, it is shown to have declined. It is shown to have declined, which is quite bad for the body in the sense because NAD plus depletion itself has been correlated with a multiple disease formation. But that is just one of it. It's helping with the genomic instability. It's helping with the mitochondrial dysfunction. But there are many others. Like I was talking about the Elizabeth Blackburn research on telomere attrition, that how with every division, a part of your telomere is cut off. And when that part of the telomere is cut off, so every time that part of telomere is cut off, your cells gets a signal that I have to divide less. There is something we called in science called the Hayflick limit, which is the number of times a cell can divide, which is around 40 to 45. At 40 to 45th time, the telomere is completely washed off. The cell has got a signal to die. But that's not what happens always. Sometimes the cell doesn't get a signal to die, which simply means that the apoptotic pathways have not been activated in that particular cell. Now that cell is going to arrest itself in a stage called senescence, which is one of the major hallmarks of aging. And even Mayo Clinic, which is a key research group in the world working on senescence, they have even went on to claim that just by dealing with the senescence problem, we can extend the human lifespan by 20-25 years. It's because these are the main guys causing the chronic inflammation. Senescence cells is what we associate with something called senescence-associated secretory phenotype, which is nothing but release of a lot of interleukins, which lead to inflammation and macrophage-induced inflammation. So that is what cellular senescence is doing. At the same time, autophagy has been a big problem. We know that there are proteins made almost every second in our cells. Now, for the longest period of time in our bodies, our cells are equipped with ubiquitinase system or the chaperone proteins, which help cut off the bad proteins that are accumulating into our cells. But these systems lose its capacity as we age as well. The autophagy reduces, which leads to accumulation of bad proteins. We all know what happens with alpha-synuclein in terms of Parkinson's and Alzheimer's disease. So I think that's where autophagy plays an important role as well, loss of proteases. Otherwise, deregulated nutrient sensing. We have known that most of the major diseases are associated with IGF signaling pathway. Chronic diseases is what we are talking about. So the IGF signaling pathways, the mTORs and the AMPKs. So all these pathways become together and make the deregulated nutrient sensing part of the hallmarks of aging. Final one, which I'm most interested about usually, and I'm banking the future of longevity sciences on this particular hallmark, and that is epigenetic alteration. It's another great scientist who I've been following, an excellent guy, mathematician for his longest period of time, then turns to biology to solve this problem of epigenetics, Dr. Steve Howard. He has found out something that the global methylation patterns are actually correlated with your biological age, which is very interesting way of putting up an age number because chronology is not something that is quite descriptive of your health. If I say I'm 20 years old or 30 years old or a 45-year-old person, it pretty much tells me nothing about what my insides are about, how much damage I have accumulated or how healthy I am. This global methylation pattern in the CPG islands of your DNA, that is called the epigenetic methylation, can tell a lot about your biological age. These methylation patterns are constantly changing based on your lifestyle, based on your age and how much damage you are accumulating. This scientist, Dr. Steve Howard, has actually made a clock out of it to measure the biological age of a person, which is one big breakthrough in the longevity sciences that has happened in the past, I would say, couple of years, as it is now also clinically viable, those tests, and people are searching the longevity molecules based on this particular test. Now, usually, like we have seen how mitochondrial dysfunction or IGF signaling or AMPK signaling, telomeres, senescence, all these hallmarks eventually have led to multiple diseases, which we call age-related pathologies. It could be anywhere between the Alzheimer's or the type 2 diabetes, the Parkinson's, osteoarthritis, neurodegeneration. Then we have liver cirrhosis, sarcopenia. all these diseases, the frailty, one of the most important reasons of aging, frailty, can be slowed down and can be targeted through these 9 hallmarks of aging. And that is what actually we have done in Decode Age. We have researched different clinical trials that have been working, that have been researching what can help, what particular dietary interventions or dietary supplements can actually help target these hallmarks of aging in a way that it can slow down the aging process and help you be healthier for a longer period of time. One of the most interesting molecules comes to us is the NMN, of course, the nicotinamide mononucleotide, which eventually becomes NAD+. Like we talked about NAD+ in the previous slide, how it is helping building up the DNA and the mitochondrial systems. NAD is known to reduce in our bodies with age. It is an established fact. There are multiple studies that have reproduced the results over that. And it is very important to fetch that NAD+ back. There was an experiment actually where they tried to do it using NAD+ supplementation itself, but they saw that the compound was quite unstable and it cannot enter the cell because there is not a right transporter for the same. So we decided to follow more about what's happening there. And we eventually found out this molecule that is nicotinamide mononucleotide. Again, this has been clinically trialed in humans for around 10 to 12 years throughout the world now. It is widely accepted in the global markets. It's just that India did not have access to it. We have nicotinamide mononucleotides. Its key role is to replenish the NAD+ levels in your cells, not just your body, but your cells, where it is going to help improve a lot of cellular and molecular levels of aging. We have got it in 3 different dosages, 250, 500, 1000. How it has to be used for different age groups is different. It also depends on the kind of exercise that people are doing, if they are doing or not, what kind of dietary interventions they have, how many multiple diseases they are carrying, and how it is correlated to the NAD+ metabolism. We take into consideration all this, and it's how we start NMN. One of the key reasons to keep it in progressively high dosages is because the clinical trials have suggested that when you start it for the first time, you have to start at a lower dosage. And then as you go, as you become pro, you can increase the dosages. Clinical trials have existed for up to 2 grams of NMN consumption per day for a period of 1 year at least. It targets certain hallmarks of aging that we have seen before, that is genomic instability and mitochondrial dysfunction. Some of the benefits, as we can see, helps improve muscle stamina, aerobic endurance. There is actually a clinical trial that has tested aerobic endurance as a marker, as their primary outcome for using NMN. So that is about it. It reduces risk of obesity through pathways its target, vascular health, prevention of heart diseases, and of course, mitochondrial function, because it's a complex 3 in the 5 complex system that is going on in the mitochondrial energy system. That's one of our key products. The second is Longevit. This is rather a research-based product where we have found out different synergies that exist with NMN and NAD, which can help with different hallmarks of aging. If we'll see that NMN NAD is something that is unique that we use along with terostilbene. We have all heard about resveratrol, but there was always a better cousin of resveratrol sitting out there who none of us noticed, because resveratrol was the talk of the town for the most of the time. But terostilbene is actually a better cousin of resveratrol. It has shown much more bioavailability while targeting the same aspects as resveratrol did. One of the most important synergies here is between NMN and terostilbene, as it activates the SIRT-U mechanism, that is the SIRT-U2 mechanism, which has been directly correlated with aging and rapid aging and control of aging process. Next in line, curcumin is along with NMN. Again, it helps with the epigenetic alterations that we were seeing in the 9 hallmark side. We have L-glycine, which works very nicely to make the bioavailability, to increase the bioavailability of NAD and NMN. Hyaluronic acid and NMN works with the probiotics that are present in your gut already to improve your skin health, because we all want to look good if we are healthy from inside, right? So that is about the hyaluronic acid. Ginger extract, ginseng, comes at 2 most important molecules that have been a part of everyday diet in the blue zones of the world. Globally, as we might recognize, there are 5 blue zones where the average lifespan of a person ranges between 95 to 98, with maintaining a health span of more than 85 years. And one common thing between all of them was using ginger extract and ginseng in their everyday diets, is why they are already there. And this research was completed by Buck Institutes of Aging in USA. Alpha ketoglutarate is the upcoming stalwart, as we would say in the supplement industry of longevity. It's because we were talking about the epigenetic age, that age test, the biological age test that Dr. Steve Howarth developed. A recent trial with alpha ketoglutarate in their test actually showed 6 years of average reversal of biological age in people who were using AKG within 8 months. That was a big trial. It is being discussed a lot. Many people had tried to criticize it, but the authors have overcome the criticism that was already there. So that is for the Longevit. Senevit is, I think, the senolytic activator that we were talking about in second part of my story that Parth had first tried. Senevit is again this formulation that we are using to kill off the senescent cells or be the senolytic activator. This has been clinically trialed as it is by Mayo Clinic of USA, one of the most reputed organizations in pharma research. And we're not doing much, but just replicating the clinical trial to help Indians with their first senolytic activator, which we now call Senevit, sorry. So the ingredients are again quite unique with quercetin and amphegenin, piperlongum and quercetin. Hallmarks of aging that Hallmarks of aging that it targets are, of course, the cellular senescence and loss of proteasis, while it helps in healthy cellular function because it makes sure that the zombie cells or the senolytic or the senescent cells that are present in the tissues are removed, and that chronic inflammation, which is the senescence associated secretory phenotype, is controlled. Just by controlling SARS, we take care of the first 3 points, that is the healthy cellular function, preventing tissue and organ damage. The rest is, of course, reducing the cellular senescence burden. A recent trial on osteoarthritis will actually discuss how senescent has contributed to that particular disease and how just taking senolytic activators for 3 months have drastically reduced the effects of osteoarthritis. All the clinical trials that I'm discussing currently can be shared. So if any of the doctors would like to check through it, I would be happy to share all those just in case. Well, yes. That is for the Senevit. And finally, Sportuit is somewhat more for a high functioning individual, people who are having or working out a lot and working a lot, having a very busy life, and yet they are facing the problems that comes with the busy life and the lifestyle damage that happens. Usually we replace a lot of coffee. We have a lot of coffee in the day to just make sure that we have that maintained energy levels throughout the day. We kind of thought of them and developed this purely for the athletes or the high functioning individuals. The point is to extract the clean green energy out of your mitochondria and not give it any external push by using caffeine or something. So NMN inositol L-taurine is what that is the function for the high energy output from the mitochondria. As well, fenugreek, ashwagandha, and folic acid to eventually stabilize the damage that might be caused on over-exaggeration of mitochondrial function. So that is about the products that we have. Now, this will be something new coming out from a supplement-based company, as people see us as right now, but a lot of focus is on research. And just like we said, we want to contribute to the longevity sciences overall in the world as well. And we want to establish India's name into this field because no one else in India is currently working on longevity. So we have planned our own clinical trial for senescent cells, and we are looking for a reputed doctors like yourself in the IAFM to collaborate with us, help us with patient cohorts, and eventually contribute to the first clinical trial that will be happening in the longevity sciences in India. We are on the course of paperwork, and we would be happy to take any invitations that are to be offered. So yes, that is enough about Decode Age, of course. But today we are here to mainly talk about our collaboration with the IAFM, which in Decode Age we hold it at Zenith. And it is purely because of the extraordinary work we have seen this community being doing in the root cause analysis and disease reversal through state-of-the-art research. And not just going for conventional symptomatic treatments, which most of the times lead nowhere. This is actually the crux of aging research, going into the root causes of everything. And we want to contribute as much into this journey taken up by IAFM while we reap our own benefits from the huge tree that you guys have already grown. Our ideas for research and development in this field would require coordinate efforts, of course, from the doctors of your likes, who is the most progressive community, I believe, in this particular, in our country. And that's where we expect coordination from IAFM actually. And we have already interacted with a few members in IAFM, and we have the ideology that we have seen reflecting from you all has been amazing, and it pretty much aligns with what we also want to do going ahead in the future for India in terms of chronic diseases, which is one major reason why we are here. Happy to open our doors to as many collaborations as possible. So, of course, we can get into the technical details of the products as and when the doctors have requirement for specific conditions. But we already have certain provisions, as we have been working with a few neurologists already in terms of Parkinson's, and in certain cardiovascular doctors where we are working in terms of heart diseases. But we want to open the same doors to IAFM as well. We want to see if doctors are interested in whatever model that is possible, if they want to get the products in bulk, or if they want online codes for our website for their patients, we can do that. We also have an application coming up where all the community of our customers that are there who are very involved into this longevity field and what's going on and how to help their life being better. In that case, we want a special portal for you doctors so that you can directly interact with them. You can understand their needs better, because one of the major links between research and patients is, of course, doctors, and doctors who really understand the latest research rather than someone who goes by protocols every time. So we would like IAFM doctors to be an active part on that portal, register from the doctor's side, and help our community of people who are looking for certain things in their life, improvement of their health, or even reversing their chronic diseases. We will also have to talk to an expert option. So if you really register there and one of our people go for the talk to the expert option, they'll be directly coordinated to you through us. So that will be an interesting part, we believe, that will help us create a community, more importantly. And even for the products, we are going to have a replicative model following the big pharma. Again, we are supplements company, but we have research ideals. So we are going to have dedicated pages for healthcare practitioners on our website so that they can get more technical details, summaries of clinical trials, and the right literature to access and read just to help a particular patient out in that case. These are some of the propositions we have, of course, but we would be happy to take in any inputs from you all today as well, and going ahead ever in the future. So thank you so much for listening me out. And I hope we will be having a bright and long future today with going ahead with IAFM. So yes, thank you so much, Dr. Musa. Over to you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, Dr. Patel, go ahead.
Thank you, Darshit, for such an informative talk. More important than the talk, your idea about doing R&D in India and bringing Indian content forward is something I really like and appreciate. I'm sure on behalf of IFM, we will love to get little more details about what you guys plan to do and how we can get involved and support you in that. Because coming from the publishing background, I strongly believe unless we have data published from Indian patients, we will not be able to reach where we should reach and where we can very, very easily reach. So I'm extremely happy to, hear from you, your plans.
Thank you. Thank you.
And all the best.
Thank you so much, Dr. Priti. Yes.
Right. And we will support you. I also liked your products, the thought behind them. So if you can share after this call through Dr. Musa or somebody who's the right person to reach out to. Is it you? Is it any team member from your end? Then maybe all of us, who would want to explore the benefits of your products with our patients, we would love to at least start.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your support, Dr. Preeti. And I'm glad that you have responded so positively. And about our research ideals, that is what holds us up above the rest of the market, is what I would say, because clinical trials are really important and the world is looking forward to more and more clinical trials and more populations. So I think India would be the best hub to do so. And we expect IAFM to, really, you guys have the real access to patients. You know what are the problems that a patient is dealing every day. We just want to see, we want to check through our clinical trials and those patients if it is about senescence, if we can solve that problem to the cellular senescence problem. So I think, yes, we can definitely talk in detail, and I'll personally get in touch with everyone who is interested in the clinical trial.
Right. And also, clinical trial is a very broad term. Some more details about it that would give us more insight whether we have that type of patients or not, whether we will be interested to be a part of that type of trial or not. So
right.
Yeah, in clinical trial in that way is a big deal. We have to formulate the trial, then we have to conduct the trial. And yes, I can help you with that because we have some collaboration with some pharmacology company, and I have one of friend who is doing a clinical trial in a bigger company. So we can take help of that. But to start with, I would like to ask you a question. As you said, so we can use NMN as a in a chronic disease. So what is the dose you recommend? Then how long we should give to the patient before we can have some positive results in that way? Because already you have done clinical trial and some experience with the product and this thing. So if we want to start the product, so what is the dose and what is the time that we should give a trial?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for asking that question, Dr. Anish. So NMN usually, like I said, most of the clinical trials suggest that you should progressively increase the dosage. So we provide it in 250, 500, 1000 versions. So that, every time a patient cannot be like taking 1 gram of NMN from day one, because your body now kinds of needs time to get used to the NMN and NAD cycles in your body. So that is one of the first aspects, that we start with low dosage, progressively increase. But if a person severely has a disease pathology, then the clinical trials have happily suggested to start with 500 and above, because that much NAD depletion has already happened in the body. So that is about how we start. But for a healthy person who is just looking for health-oriented efforts, then we can start at 250 and then regularly increase. For high-performing individuals whose energy consumption and mitochondrial function is actually high, they have decided to go for 1000 since day one as well, because a lot of scientists have suggested that in their clinical trials. So there is a varied range. To put it out quite precisely and keenly, I would say if it is health-oriented person, start at 250 and increase slowly. If it is a person with severe disease pathology, usually age 45 and above, facing 1 or 2 chronic diseases on an everyday basis, then it goes to 500 almost, and high-performing individuals, then we go to almost 1000. So that is for NMN. The most interesting is actually the Senevit part. So the senescent cell clearing senolytic activator. Such a potent formula, you have to take 1 tablet in 2 to 3 days. That is the power of that particular formulation. So I don't think so we have any other supplement which you say that, okay, 1 tablet in 3 days, how can it help? But it really does help. And that is how the dosage have been determined through the clinical trials. Because your cells usually take time to reach that particular stage, which is the senescent stage, because there are 45 divisions between them. So that 45 divisions take almost 24 to 36 hours, depending on the cell tissue that is there. So it is suggested to take every 2 days. That's about the Senevit.
And how long we should take that?
So clinical trials have went on for more year and above. But if we actually check the practicality of it, then the day you will stop taking NMN is the day, again, the NAD plus levels will start falling down. So it's kind of a dietary compound which has to go for a longer period of time. So that is what we also suggest, that it's good as much as you have it like that.
There's one question from the chat.
Yeah.
Yes, please go ahead.
Dr. Anish, can you hear?
Please. Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, I'm Dr. Sandeep here. I was very much interested in NAD as a molecule and NMN also. And what I found in my study was that, something as simple as niacin, vitamin B3, in a high dose, we give like 500 milligram, is one of the best supplements that can really boost up your NAD, because, when NAD came, it was a very expensive molecule. 1 month coming like 5,000. I don't know how much is this costing. So my take is that if we want to give increase NAD, we should combine it with niacin and compounds like that. And one of the best supplement that can increase your niacin is that increases NAD is niacin, especially the flush one, which causes flushing in the body, not the no flush one. You don't have to give very high dose niacin, because then it causes its own issues, liver problems and others. But something like 500 milligram niacin, if we combine it with some dose of NAD, I think that would be a very good combination that can really boost our NAD level. What's your take on that? Have you come a bit?
Yeah, Dr. Sandeep, yeah. Basically, when we talk about the NAD and all these things, we talk about the basic stuff first. So if we talk about the mitochondrial health and energy production, and aging is a part of when you decline your mitochondrial health and you decline the energy production, that is the one part of aging and this thing. So when you talk about the mitochondrial health, not only the B3, we talk about because we have an entire electron transport chain from complex 1 to complex 5. And they all have they all have an important role in this. So not only the B3, it's all of B2, B3, magnesium, iron is one of the most important things for electron transport chain and mitochondria. So we talk about all these things. So if we talk about nutrition, so whole bunch of nutrition that will help you in boosting your energy, including your L-taurine and L-lysine, all kind of amino acids.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree with you because the precursor of NAD is, of course, is a B3 niacin.
Yeah, B3 specific for NAD.
Yeah, B specific, yeah.
That is very
B3
specific.
for NAD.
I'm talking about specifically for NAD.
Yeah, B3.
So
yes,
I think,
right.
Dr. Sandeep, to address that particular question, the salvage pathway, which is usually the pathway that makes the NAD plus, it's a multi-step process. Like if we see, it comes from niacin to nicotinamide to NAM, then it comes to NR, then it becomes NMN, and then finally becomes NAD plus. So we have seen that niacin is much before in that pathway, and the easiness of conversion from NMN to NAD is much better. Secondly, the cell transport pathway, the cellular membrane transport chain, which takes NMN inside the cell, is much more evolved in terms of the selectivity. So if you take NMN, there is a particular transport pathway in your membrane called SLC1238. Through this particular permeability, basically the bridge, NMN is easily taken and it's selective and it's present in almost every cell. So the cell penetration part becomes very much easier with NMN, at least that is what the research have suggested both on cell lines and mice models. And just that it is much nearer to the NAD plus, it is the direct precursor to NAD plus. It becomes easier for the cell to convert it. It just needs one nucleotide into the cell, which is literally omnipresent in the entire cytoplasm. So as soon as the NMN gets that one nucleotide, it converts into NAD plus. Is why people have been preferring NMN over niacin these days.
Yeah, there are studies going on, but still there are controversies. There's
controversy. Yeah,
NMN is metabolized very fast, and there is no advantage if you compare it with niacin and NAD, NMN as far as the clinical results. So there are a lot of still controversies going on. Yeah, but we do understand that NMN is one of the things that is coming up in anti-aging, especially with Dr. Sinclair and other doctors who have focused on this. Have you worked on spermidine? Are you working on spermidine?
Oh yes, spermidine is actually in process and will probably
one of the best molecules for autophagy. I think it is.
Absolutely.
Are you coming up with that?
You are right, Dr. Sandeep. And spermidine is actually. Sorry, I lost you a bit there.
It is one of the very strong molecule to activate autophagy and even, working on the senescent cells. So are you coming up with spermidine? Right. How are your studies on spermidine? What do you think?
Yes. So actually we'll be coming up with spermidine. It will be live on our website in a week. It's already under production. The bottling and manufacturing is going on. And will be using wheat germ extract, mostly 99% purity spermidine in our products in a dosage of around 10 mg. So I think that is what has been suggested. There's not much clinical data to support it, but whatever there is, it suggests this. So we are planning to go with it. And I'm very glad that you mentioned its function on autophagy, kind of reduced my own job, because we know it's a part of the putrescent pathway and it has been one of the most important factors in chaperone mediating autophagy. So I'm sure that's going to help people a lot, and we'll be happy to launch it through IAFM also in 1 week or so.
Yeah, nice. Thank you. So my question to you, Darshit, is that, when I think about anti-aging clinic, to start like one, do you have like investigations also with you, or you just have supplements as a company, or what do you Do you have all those investigations to check the telomere length and mitochondrial dysfunction and everything? Do you have that available also with your company, or how do you go about that?
No, so actually, again, a great point that you touched upon, because everything that we're planning to do, you are asking me right now. So our investigation side is coming up. We are developing tests for different versions of aging. We'll be starting with gut microbiome because it has been highly correlated with the aging, healthy aging part in the blue zones at least. And we are following up with all the things that we have talked about. That is the epigenetics, the NAD plus level testing inside your cells, and all these other factors that are involved in the aging process. So as we progress, I think I'm not going to guarantee that every 15 days will launch a test, but yes, we are definitely working
Yeah.
on it.
Hello.
I
I'm
think
so
we
sorry.
lost.
I'm
Yeah.
so sorry. I don't know where I left off, so I'll just readdress the last question by Dr. Sandeep, and that was about investigations or not. So yes, we'll be bringing up investigations because we want to work in the aging field holistically and not just provide one aspect of it, because I'm sure there is no one else in India who is currently doing that. So slowly and steadily, maybe every couple of months or 3 months, we'll be bringing up one or two tests that are aging specific. We'll be starting with gut microbiome. We want to indulge ourselves into the epigenetic age testing. Telomere length, I'm still waiting for hardcore validation because most of the test is happening on the peripheral blood cells, and which is not really giving the right results for telomeres because a blood cell has life of only 45 days. So we need to go deeper into the tissues, and the invasiveness is kind of making it a problem for me right now. That is why I'm holding back on telomere length. But yes, for senescent cells, we are trying to do, but again, we want to complete the clinical trials so that it gets validated that the biomarker that we are using for senescence is actually the correct one or not. So yes, the plan is definitely there. The investigations are coming up. A couple of them have been completed and the rest are in work.
Yeah. Darshit, there's a company called Do Not Age. I think you might be aware of that company.
Yeah.
And I wrote a mail to that company, I think about a month back, because I was going through their products and their things. But they didn't respond back to me, and I don't know, they must be busy, and I couldn't find their representation in India also. So
Right.
I was keen to work, but I would like, if you come up as an anti-aging clinic, it should be like, you train a group of doctors like us, into the testing part, the whole part, because I don't think supplements alone would really do much. It has to be a
Right.
holistic approach, as you understand.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, it will give a very negative role. That is a lot of papers have come where then supplements have sometimes worked, sometimes they have shown negative impacts also. So if that is going to happen and people are not going to get results, and these are expensive supplements, which I understand, I don't know how would we really, uh, push it on the patients. So unless it's a well understood the whole thing, that along with lifestyle management and other things, how do we take it as these supplements, in a
Yeah, I
way
think.
that is really going to make an impact? What do you say, Dr. Anish?
Sorry to interrupt. Sorry to interrupt, Sandeep. That is a hallmark of functional medicine. So what we are doing in functional medicine, that is what we want to work on finding the root cause. Then we want to take in diet, nutrition, and then whole bunch of patient lifestyle. So actually,
Right.
before we recommend any kind of advanced anti-aging, we have to reverse the disease first. Then we can think about the anti-aging and this.
Yes.
I agree.
Agreed.
Because
We have to do the
supplements
basic stuff.
alone,
That's why I told basic stuff. We have to do a basic stuff like we have to, because most patients come with us vitamin D deficiency as there, and they have a magnesium deficiency and so on, and with a low hemoglobin, how we can expect we can work on this kind of advanced
Right.
nutrition therapies. So basically, we have to fix the first thing first, and then once the patient is achieved that goal, then we can think about anti-aging and all this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And which is why I agree to both the doctors that have spoken so far, because that is why I mentioned in my speech as well, like how we are aligned like IAFM in terms of thoughts going to the root cause. We are actually developing an AI-based blood test where you give your regular 39 parameter blood test. We take in those parameters and we can give you a biological age number from that. Now, this particular AI algorithm has been trained over multiple cohorts of patients, so it has quite a good accuracy rate as well. That is one of the things that is coming up with Decode Age. And we definitely did understand the power of investigation since day one. It's just that with the supplements, it was easier to kind of come in and educate people. Meanwhile, we buy ourselves time to develop these investigations in India because, to be very honest, it's a hard job because there's no one else working in India. Even the researchers are sitting outside. So we are constantly in collaboration with them, trying to develop these tests. Once we achieve a certain accuracy rate, we want to come out with the people and give you an entire plan. And which is why the application is also coming, because we have understood different dietary, like epigenetics based diet, telomere based diet and exercises that Elizabeth herself has suggested. Then we have different kinds of research is done on what kind of exercises should be done, when to be taken the supplement with, if you're taking this diet, that supplement, that much dosage. So all this holistic plans, a proper plan for a patient will be developed and launched on that app. So I understand a lot of work is underdoing, but I think month on month you will get great updates from Decode Age, I'm sure. In terms of investigations or the holistic approach towards longevity, and rather than just supplements. Test, because if I don't know if your intracellular NAD is increasing or not, what's the point of having my supplement at all? So we want to bring that test in first, collaborated with a patent holding company that have developed the NAD plus test in the world now.
Okay, Darshil, thank you very much for your time. And I think you had thrown some light on anti-aging and these things. And we are, thank you, and pleased to listen to you. And whatever the help you require in future to have a clinical trials or anything, please let us know as IAFM community. Our main goal is to promote the functional medicine and this kind of medicine in India. Sure,
Dr. Anish, do you guys have time for one more question?
Yeah, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Dr. Anish. Thank you. Darshit, like you said, if aging is the first disease, all other diseases are complications of it. All the disease of the patients that we are dealing with are complications of the first disease called the aging. Am I correct?
I am so sorry again, because I think my internet connection is aging, and I don't know how to solve that problem because I'm more of a biologist. Yeah.
So
can you hear us now?
Yeah, absolutely, I can.
All right. So I said, like how you said, if aging is the first disease, all other diseases that we are dealing with today as functional medicine doctors are complications of that first disease, correct?
Right, kind of an output.
Correct. Also, when we start giving the supplements that's going to help with aging, how many of our supplements that we give today?
Sorry, yeah, I missed the last bit, doctor.
I think we lost Dr. Visalam. Hello, Dr. Visalam, can you hear me?
No, I think the entire country's internet is aging.
Yeah. So she's asking that, I think what I understood from her question is, as you said, the aging is the first disease, then we have all sort of, lifestyle disease. So she might be asking the question that what if we give a supplement, then if we can reverse the chronic disease, then we can reverse the age. Or is a vice versa, like a chronic disease is the first thing that develop and then it leads to the aging. That
so
I think
it's actually all the aging related disease are actually like overexpression of the hallmarks that we have been discussing so far. So most of the time, this is actually a very debatable portion in science itself, because what is leading to what is a big question mark always. But whatever we are guessing, like in terms of the theories that have been developed, it's mostly around the damage that is caused. So even in aging, like there are two schools of thought. There is one saying that aging is purely genetical, evolutionary, and there is a replicative lifespan. Is like that theory, in fact, is quite interesting, because every time you not every time, we hardly reproduce once now in our life. So when we reproduce, the selfish gene from our genome actually passes on to the next generation, is when the aging process kinds of accelerate. Because biologically now you have no point of existence on the planet. You have given what you have to give. But then humans live in a different way. We don't work on the replicative lifespan side. We work on the health side. We work on maintaining our lives for a longer time. So then there is another school of thought which actually thinks that there is a repair damage heuristic. There is a continuous aging process. These hallmarks, when they go wrong, they will generate damage, be it the oxidation or the senescence and all that. So as soon as, if we can control the damage right at its very source, then there is no limit to how much a human can live. So this actually two schools of thought are quite much in a conflict. There is a big debate, in fact, between Dr. Aubrey de Grey and Dr. Charles Brenner, who have done the debate over which school of thought is better. But if we come down to the conclusion of it, there is no real conclusion if aging leads to disease, but disease leads to aging. It's kind of a hand-in-hand process. But it's just that certain aspects of aging start as early as 2025. As we know, like in physiology, there's a common saying, you start aging the day you are born. It's pretty much that. So we just have to find that exact point in a person's life when that damage has crossed. This is why aging in numbers is also not quite acceptable in this particular industry. We want to find out biological age. We want to see how much damage your body has done. Based on that, we decide if you're aging or not. So there is quite a lot of confusion around this. And I'm sure as we progress into the field, we will definitely find one-way answer, which I think that does not exist, but let's see. We'll leave it to the great heads.
My one thing is, one of the most potential medicine for anti-aging, which everybody agrees, is rapamycin.
Yes.
mTOR inhibitor.
Right.
And the worldwide trials are going in anti-aging. I think the most potential medicine, which I think few of them, I think metformin is one good medicine that is supposed to be good for anti-aging. But rapamycin really is the real drug. And there are a lot of trials going on that also. What is your take on rapamycin, and what do you think about rapamycin as a mTOR inhibitor and anti-aging, especially low dose like 3 milligram weekly or 4 milligram weekly? What do you think as anti-aging? I think they're the most potential medicine that we have.
Right. So, Dr. Basim, first of all, like me saying anything about a pharma compound to a doctor is kind of hands-up situation for me. We would definitely love to talk about it in a personal informal event rather than a formal event, because if I tell you that, okay, if I tell the not just you, like the overall public in the webinar right now, that we should take a rapamycin, that's kind of not showing my scientific ethics. So I would definitely love to discuss it. I've been following a lot of research that is done by Matt Campbell and their research group, and the DOC project has been quite a rockstar project. And I think taking it to humans has been very interesting. I think Unity Biotechnology has an ongoing clinical trial for rapamycin and its inhibition of mechanistic targets of rapamycin. So let's see, I think we'll discuss more clinical trials, but I would suggest let's do it personally and not in front of everyone, because I don't want to discuss pharma drugs at all right now.
So sure, we can do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I think anybody have a question for Darshit?
I am back. Can
Yes,
I still ask?
Yes, yes, Dr. Visalam, please go ahead.
Yeah. So I'm saying, as functional medicine doctors, we give a lot of supplements. But in case if we're treating the first disease called the aging, and how much of our supplements can we reduce? Or what do you think are the supplements that'll really go off the book?
As in from the current set of things
Correct.
that we are using?
Correct.
Right. So I don't know how to remove any one of them, as in, because see, like something like omegas it is very well researched, right? To challenge and to remove it completely. I don't know how that works. And personally, I've not followed a lot of research around that area as well. So I think I'll have to actually sit down with you in discussion about what's all happening with the omega and how if any of our compounds are actually replicating or mimicking the effect, then we can actually remove the omegas from omegas is just something that I'm using as an example. Please don't find it
No,
as
agreed. I mean, for diabetes, we do berberine. For thyroid, we do L-tyrosine as well. For blood pressure, we do nitric oxide, L-arginine. Can all of those small amino acids go off the table?
I doubt that should
ones,
happen.
not the omegas, not the magnesiums.
Yeah.
Not micronutrients at all.
Right. So I think the carnitines and all that we are talking about, the tyrosines and the L-carnitines and the N-acetylcysteines and all these. So I think if there is well elucidated literature out there for a specific case use, like you just mentioned for diabetes, we use berberine. So something like that. It doesn't make sense to take it completely off the shelf. But if you see, like most of our products will cover these important small molecules that are there. Right. For example, berberine, we have a version of it in our Longevit product. Then if we talk about the L-carnitine, we have another product called Resvit, apart from the ones that we just discussed in the slideshow. So Resvit already has the L-carnitine, N-acetylcysteine, and the L-tyrosine. So these small aspects we have already covered in our supplements, so that we make sure that a patient does not has to take like 10 tablets a day and then kind of get skeptical about how much am I have to take. So we have tried to cover all those versions. Like for the set of chronic diseases, we have developed a product called Resvit, which is resveratrol, and along with it, all the regular stuff that doctors would use with different chronic conditions. So I think if we go into that kind of a choice from our product range, we can decide to take one or two products off the shelf from the patient.
Okay, understood.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I have one more question for Darshit. I wanted to know if you can actually share some testimonial, basically, of the chronic diseases that you worked on some some journey of any particular patient that has taken some supplement and anything of that sort to just yeah.
Of course, Dr. Panjwani. So we did have a few collaborations. So we were working with a neurologist in our hometown called Dr. Gaurang, and he had a Parkinson's patient who was scheduled for DBS, the deep brain stimulation technique for dopamine production. They had to literally open up the brain to produce the dopamine somehow. And so I went to Dr. Gaurang and we had a discussion about, we discussed a couple of trials that happened with NMN's use case in Parkinson's disease to improve the motor neurons, and even the probiotics, the right probiotics that help develop the dopamine inside your gut itself. So the SCFA producing bacteria. So when we started on like probiotics and NMN, it kind of helped the patient. Today, that patient had to like delay or postpone the DBS that they were going to get by at least 6 to 8 months. So I think that is one of the major things that we take pride in that cases. Then we have worked with a cardiovascular doctor who was already aware about the Resvit's benefit from the famous French phenomenon that we have followed in the 1980s, where eating a high-fat diet was still not causing cardiovascular problems in French people because of drinking wine. So wine had resveratrol. So one of the cardiovascular doctors we know was aware about it, and he started using it for the same. I think we have one more doctor in Bangalore who has been using with us the NMN for liver, not the cirrhosis, but NAFLD and NASH syndromes. So that is where we have worked. But apart from that, regularly what customers buy from us every day who are looking for just optimum health and everything, we have got some excellent customer reviews. Like sometimes I don't believe that this product has this magic, to be very honest. But many people have come to us. They have found better improvement in their heart rates, resting heart rates, at least people who follow with a lot of tracking devices that they wear these days. I think they have given us an excellent response. People who are into sports, we have a couple of sportsmen with us. They have definitely found an increased energy levels. People working in offices have found that midday slumps have reduced. Those crashes, the energy crashes. That's pretty much what all we have heard from customers, and that is what is at the top of my mind right now.
Darshit, in case you want to buy the products, where can we buy it, and how we are going to get it?
I think we have Parth with us right now. He takes care of all the business and marketing, so I think he would better be able to help you out. In any case, you could always drop an email for B2B connection for collaboration. We can also drop an email at darshit@decodeage.com or Parth I'll just put it in the chat box once. And also share it on the IAFM group so that everyone has access to it.
Yeah.
And we can just go at it and start discussing. There is always both the ways possible. One is that doctors buy it off bulk, or we generate codes for you, which your patients can eventually use on the websites. They can get their discounts and you can get your cut if there is that kind of a model that is existing between us.
Can you please share your mobile number, Darshit?
Sure, I'll do that, Dr. Uma. And I'll put it in the same chat box right now.
Yeah.
Sure, that'll be me.
Okay, thank you,
Darshit. Thank you.
Thank you
very
Thank you so much, doctors, all the doctors.
Audience, thank you. So we are closing the webinar. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a good night. Bye-bye. Take care.
Thank you. Bye. Good day, everyone. See you all.